tech space, right? And that is what that's what we're going to be doing today. All right. So you're very welcome, everyone. Like I said earlier, if you're just joining, you're very, very welcome. And I mean, a brief intro about myself. My name is Tony, right? My name is Tony, and I'm a growth associate at Techies. And like I said earlier, I'll be your host for today's webinar. I mean, it's going to be a wonderful one. It's going to be definitely worthwhile. I know a lot of people are here, different categories of people are here. You know, some people that want to, get a tech job, basically. People that know little or nothing about tech. People that probably they've delved into tech, but some things actually took them back, got them frustrated and all of that. So, I mean, there are different audiences here, right? Or there are different audiences here, and we're going to basically be meeting your needs, answering your questions, attempting to, give you clarity on certain things. And I'm sure you're going to get this clarity. So, like I said, my name again is Tony. And basically, what do? I'm a digital marketer, right? And basically, I write and I do email marketing, right? And I mean, I got into tech in 2020. I'm not going to bore you with a long story or something. I got into tech in 2020 when I realized I graduated from the university in 2019, but of course, I was not exactly let go to like 2020. So I got into tech in 2020 and I studied BSc Geology. I studied geology from the University of Ife, actually, Obafemi Awolowo University. And I just realized that I had interest in tech, but I knew little or nothing about tech, right? What I just knew about tech was basically people that write codes, web developers and all of that. And in itself, that was actually very scary because I knew how technical those things were. I knew how long it actually take you to learn certain skills like this, especially when it comes to like coding languages and all like that. I know a friend of mine, when I was in 200 level, he started coding since when I was in 200 level, and I did a 4-year course. So while I was done schooling, while I was done with my 400 level, the guy was still basically learning. So it took like a lot of time to learn. And I was just like, so am I going to spend 2 years of my life learning about how to code and all of that? But someone introduced me to digital marketing, and that actually changed my perspective to the tech space. And basically, trust me, that is what is going to be happening today. That is basically what is going to be happening today. And trust me, you're going to be learning a lot. We have our speakers here, amazing speakers, amazing speakers, right? So I'll just reiterate again, please. If you're just joining in right now, tell us your name, tell us what you do, tell us where you're joining in from. This will help you to basically interact with people that are probably in your location or people that you have same interest with. Right now, if you are probably aspiring to be a social media manager, you can meet someone on the group and then you guys can just interact and all of that. So do well to drop that. So basically, I'm going to be talking to us a bit about Techies, what we do. And then we're going to be going ahead to like introduce our speakers, right? So Techies. Some of us have heard about Techies. Some of us are probably just hearing about Techies for the first time. So I'm going to be giving us a rundown of what we do at Techies, who we are and what we do, and even how we do what we do. So Techies is an initiative, is a company out there that is mark my words, when I use certain words intentionally, right? We are very, very intentional about helping you to get into the tech space, right? We are very intentional about helping you to get into the tech space. And we are not just intentional about helping you to get into the tech space. We are also very, very much interested in your sustainability in the tech space, right? So we noticed a lot of times that most people that that want to be in the tech space, that want to learn a particular tech skill, that as we learn about tech here and there, the buzz, the fuzz about tech and all of that, they basically don't know what it entails. And in a sense, they don't have a roadmap, a sort of pointer, a sort of direction on how to get started in tech. And that is basically where we come in. So we are not just here to help you learn about a particular tech skills or tech skills as it were. We are also here to ensure that you take the next step. You take the next step, learning about a tech skill is a means, but there is actually an end in mind. The end in mind is to make sure that you actually, kickstart your career path in the tech space. And that is why we are here. That is what more Techies do. So we are here to help you learn about a tech skill and help you to kickstart your career. And how do we do this? I mean, other people are joining. Welcome, Oluwafemi from Lagos. And how do we do this in more Techies? We have an academy that caters to teaching you everything you need to know about a particular tech skill, right? Currently, we are running 6 programs. And we have more programs in the pipeline about to be launched. Currently, we run programs like technical analysis, we run programs like product management, we run programs like social media management, business analysis, and UI UX design. And just newly launched, we launched our product marketing course about 2 days back. So these are, interestingly, these are tech courses that don't require any knowledge of coding. These are courses that don't require any knowledge of coding, right? And it's very interesting because think of it, when you hear about tech, what most likely comes to your mind, or what most people tell you about tech, is that you need to know how to code. You need to know how to code. But I just mentioned 6 courses now, or 6 basic programs that you don't need to have any knowledge about coding, and you can actually excel in those courses. And our speakers are going to be doing justice to 5 of those courses today, because our speakers are going to be explaining these courses and telling you basically how to get started, how to, kickstart your career path in these courses. And I'll reiterate again, you don't need to know how to code to actually do very well in these courses. You don't need to know how to code to do very well in these courses. And like I said, we are not just about teaching you tech skills in more Techies. We are also interested in what you do after you learn. What you do after you learn. Of course, there's this saying that practice makes perfect. There's this saying that it is what you do you're going to excel at, right? So if you learn a skill and then you don't take the next step of practicing or doing what you need to do, like taking the next step, probably working on projects, doing exercises, and showing people that you don't just only know about these courses, you don't only know about these skills, you can also put them to practice. That is the game changer you need. That is the game changer you need. And in more Techies, we discover that a lot of people are just accumulating knowledge here and there, learning from videos upon videos upon videos, but in a sense, they don't really have anything to present. So you tell us that you're a social media manager, you tell us that you're a UI UX designer, but let us see what you've designed as a UI UX designer. Do you have a portfolio? Do you have a case study you've worked on? Do you have possible interfaces you've developed and all of that? A lot of people don't have that. They just know that, okay, I know how to design, I know how to manage social media platforms. Let us see the work you've done. And that is why we came up with this very, very important initiative we call the Talent Accelerator Program. The Talent Accelerator Program, TAP for short. And this, trust me, this is a game changer. This allows you to demonstrate the knowledge you've gained in the academy. This allows you to, exercise and demonstrate the knowledge you've gained in the academy. So in the Talent Accelerator Program, it's basically an internship program that allows you to practice everything you've learned in the academy. So, okay, you've been learning about social media management, you've been learning about technical writing for a couple of weeks. Let us see what you can do. Can you work in a team? Can you work with group members and come up with a digital product that you would be the technical writer in charge of that digital product and be able to simplify details such that when people read, they're able to understand what the product does? Can you do that? That is the question. The question is not just, okay, let us see your certificates. The question is not just, okay, when we go to your LinkedIn, we're saying technical writing. What have you done? Can you demonstrate your proficiency in this particular skill? And that is why the Talent Accelerator Program is a very crucial aspect to kickstarting your tech journey, basically. And that is what we're about. So I've answered the question, what we do, and I've also answered the question, how we do what we do. So we do what we do by organizing an academy to teach you certain skill sets, certain tech skills, and we enable you to, put to practice everything that you've actually learned by joining an internship program where you get to work on a project, work on a product, and not just a project or a product. This product can be, can be moved to the Nigerian market or even the African market. So this is a product that you would have credit for. So you can, tell a potential or a hiring company that I worked on so project for a couple of months, and this is the results. The product is out there in the market. This is what it does. This is what it does, and that and that. You understand? So this is what we do at Techies. So we are very, very intentional. We have a lot of other things we do. Things like we have a community. We call it the Tribe community. I'm sure one of my members will probably drop the link right there on the chat section. We have a community of about 5,000 members where you get tons and tons of job opportunities, where you get tons and tons of interaction with people in your interest space. We have subgroups under this community. So say you're a digital marketer, say you're a product designer, say you're technical writer. We have subgroup under this community to make sure that you interact with people in your interest space, just to make sure that you're accountable, basically. So people are there to interact with you. Okay, what have you worked on? What are you learning currently? And all of that. So we are very, very intentional about your growth. We are very, very intentional about your growth. And basically, that's what we do at Techies. I'm still going to emphasize this. But like I said, you're welcome again. Now we're moving to introduce our speakers because that's why most of us came around here, right? So we'll be moving on to introduce our speakers. All right, awesome. So I kind of need a drum roll. All right, so we're introducing our speakers, and here we are. So today, the topic we're talking about is different routes into tech, different routes to get into tech, right? And we're going to be hearing from 5 amazing speakers right here. We're going to be hearing from 5 amazing speakers, and I'll be introducing them shortly. So first on my list, we have a business analyst by name Ogujimi Dele Abraham. And he graduated from Unilorin. He studied statistics in Unilorin. And this is someone that has actually grown in the tech space, as it were. Because he studied statistics, he delved into, data analysis. He took some data analysis courses. And then, about almost 2 years right now, he delved into business analysis, and he's a business analyst for a company called Eat and Go Limited. So, this is someone that you most likely want to hear from, someone that transitioned from studying statistics in the university to learning about data analysis and then moving on to become a business analyst. This is someone you definitely want to hear from. So you're very, very welcome, Ogujimi Dele Abraham. If you're in the chat section, you can just drop a hi, hello to people and all of that. So that is one of our amazing speakers. Welcome, Ogujimi Dele Abraham. And the next speaker that will be talking to us today, her name is Lillian Ekpere, and she's an amazing product manager, and she's also a co-founder. She currently works in Eiffel Tower as a product manager, and she's basically the co-founder of that company. She's finished from Delta State University, and she studied, take a wild guess, she studied biochemistry. She studied biochemistry from Delta State University. So for some of you that are very curious that, do I need to have a background in so particular tech skill or so field before I delve into it? Lillian is going to be addressing you, right? And moving on, Lillian, you can also say hello to people on the chat section. Great to have you here. Amazing. And please, our speakers, please, you can just turn on your videos, so people can see your amazing faces, and they can just get to see in case they see you outside, so they can say, oh, hello, Lillian, hello, Virginie. Thank you for talking to us via the Techies webinar. So please do go ahead to turn on your videos. Thank you so much. All right. So we're moving on to our third speaker today. Our third speaker's name is Kayode Ojediro. I hope I'm pronouncing that name very well. Pardon me if I'm not. I'm Kayode Ojediro. And Kayode is a technical writer. Amazing. Kayode is a technical writer. For all year technical writer, aspiring technical writers here on this space, I mean, you're about to learn something very, very important about technical writing and how to get started in technical writing. And he works currently for Workleo. Kayode finished from Ladoke Akintola University, and he studied medical laboratory science, right? So, I mean, it's very interesting that most of our speakers, or at least 3 speakers we've mentioned so far, they are coming from, in a sense, a different background, like from what they study in university, and they are working in the tech space. So that is just to reaffirm that you don't need to study a tech-related course to be in the tech space. And we're going to be shattering that table, like once and for all, we're going to be shattering that table. So you're very, very welcome, Kayode. Great to have you here. I mean, it's amazing to have you here, and people are looking forward to hear you speak. People are looking forward to, to you sharing your journey with them. And thank you so much for being here with us. I mean, you can just say hello to people on the chat section, Kayode. Thank you so much. And I'm moving on to our third speaker. She happens to be a social media manager. She's a freelance social media manager, and we're going to delve into that statement or that word freelance. So she's going to make you guys understand how that you can freelance with your tech skill. You can freelance with your tech skill. Her name is Adebite Abiola Mary, and she graduated from, I mean, these are schools a bit hard to pronounce. Basically, she did school in Nigeria.
You don't have to stress, don't stress.
Okay, she did school in Nigeria, so I mean, you can imagine she schooled in Benin Republic. I think the acronym for her school is ESGT, if I'm not mistaken, right? She schooled in Benin Republic, and she studied international relations, and she's now a social media manager, which is actually amazing, right? I mean, you can see her wonderful face on the group. So Mary, it's very nice to have you here. Thank you for for being here with us, and we're looking forward to learning a lot of things from you. We're looking forward to hearing you share your journey of how you got into tech. So great to have you here. And last but not the least, we have our product designer right here. And if you're not conversant with what product design is, we're going to be understanding what that is today. And basically, you've heard of UI UX design, you've heard of design, interface, user experience, user interface, and our product design lead here, by name Malik Kolade, is going to be doing justice to how you can get started as a UI UX designer, how you can delve into product design and all of that. And currently, Malik works for Sonwo, is the product design lead at Sonwo, and Malik graduated from the Polytechnic Ibadan, and he studied, I think, elect. So in a sense, he's still kind of the person that maybe has a technical background as well. And just so you know, he's also a developer, right? So we're going to be finding out why he's majoring as a product designer today, even though he has some knowledge about development. So it's really nice to have you here, Malik. Great to have you here. Good morning to you. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Thank you for making time out to join us on today's webinar. And we look forward to hearing from you. So Malik, you can just say hello to everyone on the group. Great to have you here again. So yeah, I think we're good. So our 5 speakers are definitely ready to, to get us learning, get us talking, and all of that. So I think I want to start with a very, very simple question. And I'll be starting with, take a wild guess. Okay, I'll be starting with Ogunjimi Abraham. Can you hear me, please? You can turn on your mic.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
All right, good morning. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
I mean, it's amazing to have you here. And I mean, I think my first question, which I'm sure a lot of people on the chat section are very, very curious about is.
Sorry, sir, before we move on, I don't know if you can see my face.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay,
yes,
well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome, sir.
All right, great. So I think the first question I want to ask you is, why business analysis? Why? I mean, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, you finished from Learning, correct?
Yes, yes, very
And
well.
you studied statistics.
Mhm.
So basically, people would expect that you do something related, say data analysis, but in a sense, you kind of pivoted and you went to business analysis. So could you tell us a bit of why you decided to go for business analysis, and maybe you can delve into what you do as a business analyst?
So, yes, I studied statistics, as you've said, and University of Illinois. So while I was in the school, our universities, most of what we were taught was the theory part of analysis, and theory part of whatever you're studying depends on the department you are in. So we were basically taught some simple tools to use for analysis and the likes. So I try as much to develop myself in the aspect of analysis. So back then, I learned so many tools were Gretel, Stata, SPSS, Excel, Python a bit, R, and the likes. So then before I got to 400 level, I was doing analysis for other departments who are graduating very soon, like who are already on their project phase. So since then, I created interest in data as a whole. So when I started my career, I started initially as a data analyst. So it was basically data. So I worked for an aviation company in Overland Airways in Ikeja. So when I started, I found out that there are many problems that the company is facing, and they would need to do some investigative work and try and see what's possibly the possible solutions to them. So we're not given the platform to express ourselves that much. So after a while, I left there. Then I worked with another company. So the company is a growing company, it's a new company. So I work with them as a business analyst consultant. So what we do is we work with new businesses that are growing. So when you have a business that you want to start, we help you with, okay, what are the possible things I need to put together to start this business? What are the competitions like? Okay, if it is a product that I'm developing, how is the product going to perform in the market? So we do some A/B testing aside collecting data from customers and the likes. So when I moved to Eat and Go is a QSR company that's Quicks. I know many of us know Eat and Go, but we might not know it with the name. So, but many people knows Domino's Pizza and Cold Stone. So that's the company that I work with. So Eat and Go. So what I basically do at Eat and Go is I work with data a lot. So in this aspect of business analysis, it depends on where you want to specialize. So many people would want to specialize in the project management aspect. Many people want to specialize in marketing aspect. Many people want to specialize in data aspect. But one thing that business analysis has done is it helps you to be able to pick some aspect of data analysis, then some aspect of tech, IT, project management. It helps you to bring some aspect of marketing too, because there are other softwares that business analysts use as for the marketing aspect. So there, it helps you to communicate with basically every department, most of the departments in the organization. So that was why I said, oh, let me dive into business analysis, because it gave me opportunity to meet many people from other departments. And one of those things I like is communication. I like to communicate with people. So when there is any issue arising for me to get information from other departments, which is very, very necessary. So I found it so easy for me to communicate with them. So in Eat and Go, we come up with ideas of, okay, we are trying to increase our sales, but the sales is dropping. What is the solution to it? why are we having sale drop in this so period? So before I can say, okay, our sale is just dropping, I need to carry out some investigative work. So basically making use of my data and communicating with the marketing team and communicating with our IT guys that, okay, this is the situation on ground. What is the issue? Have we been having this issue in this same period of time in previous years, or this is just a new scenario? So based on the data, I can analyze what we have previously and have a forecast into the present situation. So if my forecast is similar to what the current situation is, so I can make a decision that, okay, we do have this drop in sales over the years, and we are having a drop in sale again. So how do we implement a marketing strategy to curb this, or to at least boost the sale for that moment? So that is where we now communicate with the marketing teams very well to see what are the deals to bring on board. Should we do a bug off? Like presently, we are having a bug off, buy one get one free. So before you can make these decisions, you have to try and see what the situation is, what is happening, and how is the best way to attend to the situations. So I came into the business analyst world just because I can communicate with other departments and I can work diversely, not just with data alone. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, thank you so much for that, Dilly. Dilly is your first name, right? Sorry, I think I keep calling you. Dilly is your first name, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I keep calling you Dijini. All right, thank you so much.
No,
Dilly,
it's fine,
for
it's
that.
fine.
Thank you, Dilly, so much for that. So basically, even as a business analyst, you still deal with data.
Yes, I do. Very well.
Wow. So, but just that you are focusing on the business aspects.
Yes.
And then you're using data to forecast, to tell stories, to understand trends and things like that.
So
okay, that's amazing. So it's not exactly far from the data analysis part. It's just applying it towards a particular business, right?
Exactly. Finding situations, finding problems, and trying to address them with the data.
That's great. So you would say that a very crucial skill for a business analyst would be knowing how to understand data, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Billy. That was really, really informative. That was really detailed. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Billy. All right. Yeah. All right. So my next question would be directed at Lillian. Hello, Lillian. Can you hear me?
Hi, Tommy. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can. Wow. Great to have you here again. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, great. So, I mean, this question has been on my mind since I went through your LinkedIn profile and I saw that you studied biochemistry and then you're working as a product manager right now. And you even co-founded a company. So I'm just like, what happened? What's your story? What's your story? How did you go from studying biochemistry in school to getting into product management to even starting a company? Like, what is the story? Was there a particular trajectory point when you just realized that, okay, I don't think I'm going to do biochemistry again? Or is Nigeria that pushed you? So I'm just interested, and I'm sure a lot of us are curious here to know your story. So please, if you could just tell us how you got into product management, that would be really wonderful.
Okay, thank you, Tommy, for the question. So, would I say Nigeria happened to me? I don't know if I'll say that. So my journey actually started while I was in school. During my, I think, 300 level, I was just interested in tech. That's it. I didn't even know how to go about it. I just had that interest in, things related to tech, products and all of that, but I didn't know how to go about it. So I saw an opening. I think there was a call out for people to join the Google Students Club at my school then. So there was this Google Students ambassadorship that was happening then. And I joined the Google Students Club, but it was more towards digital marketing. So I think that's one thing you missed in my bio, right? So before I became a product manager, I was actually a digital marketer. So I started my digital marketing journey back in 2016. while at the Google Student Club. So I was learning, how to become a digital marketer. And even after school, I started I started doing digital marketing, working as a digital marketer, and I was fortunate enough to get a job at a startup studio. So I started working at a startup studio as a digital marketer, and it was a healthcare startup studio. Funny enough, it was not like I was just looking to work at a healthcare startup studio, right? It just happened. I just saw the opening. They're looking for a digital marketer, and I joined it. And I was happy because it was like, in fact, many people that want to study biochemistry, I'm sure they wanted to study medicine at first. So I wanted to study medicine
True.
initially, so I didn't get it. So I was studying medical biochemistry. So when I saw, okay, digital marketing at a healthcare startup, so I was like, okay, since I can't do become a doctor, let
At
me
least
be doing
walk
digital
close to
marketing in
them.
healthcare. Exactly. So
Okay.
I was doing digital marketing there. I know one thing with startup is that you wear many hats. So you're not just working as a digital marketer, you're working closely with the UI team, UX team, you're working with like other people in the startup space. So I was working as a digital marketer, and I started getting more interest in other areas of product development, right? So of course I was exposed to it. I was working with designers, I was working with developers, and I just got interest. I started, even at some point I started designing too. Like I was designing with
Nice.
I was designing with my colleagues, right? So I learned how to do UI UX design. I even learned a bit of coding, but I stick to no code actually now. I didn't know I do no
Wow.
code. So I was, learning all of that. There was this, I just found myself falling in love with every part of product development, right? So I started understanding the product manager at where I was working, because product management is an intersection between business, tech, and design. So it's in the middle, and it was just like the perfect fit for me. So I started understudying the product manager at where I was working, and she had to leave. So she got another opportunity, which was great, and she had to leave. So there was an opening at the company, and they offered it to people in house before they threw out the advert. So people hiring a new product manager, and I saw it as an opportunity. Okay, why don't I? I'm actually interested in product management. Why don't I just take it up? So I took up the opportunity. I started, I was a product manager at the company, and I grew in that space. From being a product manager, I became the acting head of product, and I actually went on to become the head of product at the company. So product management was just the like perfect fit for me, right? From there, I transitioned onto, currently I'm working as at the VP of product at another company, although it's in stealth mode, so I can't really talk much about it. But yeah, so that has been my journey so far. And being the co-founder of FA Towers, I actually started FA Towers while I was in school. So it started as a digital marketing agency. Yeah. So, learning digital marketing, I was looking for how to, put my skills into practice. I know I was like, okay, why not start up an agency where I can, be doing digital marketing for people. So we started as just a digital marketing agency, and over the years we've transitioned from just doing digital marketing to building IT solutions for people and doing business development. So it has grown way past what it was just being a digital marketing agency. So that's been my journey so far. And product management is actually quite interesting. I'm sure maybe once we continue the conversation talking about like different ways to get into product management, we can talk like about how you can get into it. Mine was what, and the way I got into it is one example, from your company, working from a company, and transitioning into product management. There are other ways you can actually get into product management. But in a nutshell, that's my story so far.
Okay. Wow, that's an amazing story. I mean, I could relate at some point, especially the medical parts and all of that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. And I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to learning more about how to get into product management, and we'll definitely get into that. And I mean, you are definitely going to defend product management. You say you're really, really good. Okay. All right. So hello
Thank you.
everybody. If you're looking at going into product management, Lillian is going to be talking to us about that soon, and different ways and skills to look out for, and possibly pitfalls to avoid, just to make sure that at least you have a clear head space when you're actually heading into product management. So thank you again for that, Lillian. That was very, very insightful. All right, guys. So, I mean, so far we've heard from two speakers about their journeys, about how they started in their present career path. And I'm sure we are learning one or two things, how that Lillian was coming from a different background entirely, but because she just decided to give tech a try, even though she didn't start as a product manager, she started as a digital marketer, but she eventually got into product management, right? And I mean, that just tells you how tech is really broad and how accommodating it is, such that just a little step would actually give you a clearer vision of where you want to go into, of what you think you better be suited for. And I think that's amazing. So we'll be moving to our other speaker. I mean, I want us to hear from everybody. We'll be moving to our other speaker. Kayode, can you hear me? Are you there? Hi, Kayode, are you there? Can you hear me?
Hi, Tony. Good morning.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Doing very well.
Great.
Hello, everyone.
Great. Please, Kayode, I don't think you're in Nigeria. Are you in Nigeria?
I know, I'm Nigerian.
This is your background doesn't look like Nigeria background though. But it's really great to have you here. Thank you so much for for showing up. Thank you so much for showing up. All right, that's great. So I mean, I'm just very curious. I'm very curious. You graduated from Ladoke Akintola University, is that correct?
Yeah, very correct.
That's great. And you studied medical science laboratory, is that correct too?
Medical laboratory science.
Medical laboratory science. Sorry, pardon me for that
Yeah.
mistake. So I'm just really curious. For a lot of people have been saying that, oh, okay, I need to have a background in tech, at least maybe I studied computer science, maybe I studied engineering before I actually get into the tech space. And even as a technical writer, it's basically, correct me if I'm wrong, it involves like writing things as regards probably products, about code, about technology, as we were trying to simplify for people to understand. So I want you to like just tell us and tell the audience how maybe you stumbled upon technical writing, or maybe you just knew that you're going to go into it from the start. How did your journey start in technical writing? When did you know that, okay, this is probably it for you? And as a technical writer, basically, what do you do? If you could just walk us through that, that would be wonderful.
Great, thank you very much, Tony, for the session. So let me start with how I came about technical writing. I mean, I've always been writing something. I doesn't get to concentrate on a particular niche to focus my skills in developing studies particularly. So initially I started off as excuse me. I started off as a freelance writer. I worked in abroad and then freelancing starting. Then I started working in 2017. Sorry, please.
Yeah.
So when I started off in
sorry to cut you short, Kayode. I think your network is a bit glitchy. Could you help us check?
Oh.
Maybe I hope it's not your AirPods interfering or something.
Is it clearer now?
I think it's better. It's better. Thank you so much. So I want people to be able to hear you well. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Problem. Can we hear me properly now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
All right, good. So like I was saying, I started over as a freelance writer. I worked on Upwork around 2017 thereabouts. I needed to put my skill to use, like I said earlier. So I started off as a freelance writer, freelance content writer, and all of those things. So as time went on, I wrote for different clients, different people that I met on Upwork, and then of course I had different experiences along the years, and during those times I came about different clients, like I mentioned, that they had really good products, right? But I was personally, I was not so satisfied with how they explain their stuff, how they explain their solutions to problems. So, and also how clients are able to, how users are able to get the best use out of their solutions. So basically they had integration description issues, they had product definition issues, they had a lot of issues like that I personally I noticed while working with them. then I was still working as a content writer and what have you. So maybe blog posts, and all of those things. Those were these things I was still doing for them then. So I did not really have much to contribute. However, over the years, I began to see that I was actually interested in these solutions that my clients provided. I wanted them to get better at what they do. I wanted to, beyond creating content, beyond creating blog posts, beyond writing about stuff, so I wanted to actually increase and enable their users to be able to make better use of these products. So I began to shift towards technical writing. And well, many people will say that you don't need to learn to code before you become a technical writer, but it's an incredibly high edge that it gives to you if you have an experience learning to code. Just the basic coding skills and what have you, so that you'll be able to understand majority of these things that you encounter when you actually get into the field. So along the line, I started learning basic JavaScript, React, and all of those stuffs. Not to bore you with the coding stuff. So I learned them. I learned Flutter. I learned majority of these things, and I documented my learning process. So I started writing about stuff that I learned. I explained how I understood these stuffs, and I found out that I really actually enjoyed it. And then I started applying for opportunities. I was supposed to do internships. I did internships, and then I applied for technical content writing roles initially. And then I got one with C+ Media, and then I applied for actual technical writing roles. So I started documenting more technical articles for companies and what have you. So basically, that's like my journey into technical writing. It was during one of my experiences as a freelance writer that I found out about technical writing, and I was really intrigued, and I decided to, pursue technical writing. So about how I transitioned from MLS, medical laboratory science, to technical writing. I did the two together, and I mean, it was a good experience. As a medical laboratory scientist, you have to be able to, research. You have to be able to find out stuff. So I mean, you're a scientist. You should be able to explore and discover new stuff. So I think it made it easier for me to learn a lot of stuff. So I had to do a lot of research. I had to understand the processes behind a lot of stuff. And I think that actually gave me an edge in understanding actual solutions to problem, how things are supposed to work. And I think it's a great journey. So it's been a great journey so far.
Wow, okay, thank you so much, Kayode. I think that was a very, very interesting one. You made some very valid points that I think I'll just retrace in case people didn't hear you. But thank you so much. You mentioned that you said you've always liked writing, basically, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, great. So the fact that you already started writing, you're doing content writing, and then you transitioned into technical writing because you saw a need out there. You said that people that you worked with, they were not describing or putting a better description of their products, writing their technical articles better and all of that. So basically the interest just made you pay attention to the things that you saw that they were not working well and you had to transition into that. And I think that's really important because a lot of people just think that tech is static. Sometimes you just have to start out with a particular skill set and then you realize that, okay, this is where I'll better be. This would be a better niche for me. This would be a better place for me to be able to demonstrate my skill and demonstrate my proficiency. And I think that's really profound. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So that's great. Thank you for sharing that. So, I mean, guys, if you're looking forward to getting into technical writing, I think Kayode has already basically opened the floor. He has told you things to look out for. It doesn't matter wherever you're coming from. The fact that he studied medical laboratory science didn't mean that those skills that he got from that particular course he studied would help. I mean, he knew how to research better, and he knew how to basically, I know as a medical laboratory scientist, you'd often get to write research, maybe product research writings too, and document things a lot. So basically that added to your writing skill, that gave you much more experience as a writer. So thank you for sharing that again. So thank you so much, Kayode. That's
Yeah, thank
great.
you.
All right, awesome. So Mary, are you there? Can you hear me? Mary, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I am.
All right, great to have you. Good morning, Mary. Thank you
Good
for
morning.
joining us. Thank you for
Welcome.
joining us. So, I mean, I think the idea of digital marketing is, everybody basically knows what digital marketing is right now. You probably heard it from a friend out there. It's just generally out there. But particularly when it comes to social media management, I know that social media marketing falls under digital marketing. Digital marketing is actually a very, very wide field and all of that. But I know social media marketing falls under that. So, I mean, could you walk us through the specific job description of a social media manager? If you could walk us through that, and in a turn, you can actually just tell us how you discovered that you wanted to go into social media management. Or maybe you didn't discover it, maybe you just stumbled upon it. Could you walk us through that and probably tell us the role of a social media manager compared to a digital marketer?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Habiola, and I went to ESGT University, it's a French school in Republic of Benin.
Can you help us pronounce it?
ESGT, that's Eco Gesture Diet Department Technology. It's like a technology school, but
Okay.
they also take other social courses. So let me start with how I found myself in social media management or in a non-tech course. So apparently I was to go and intern in a governmental organization, probably in federal, like somewhere in Ikeja, but I wasn't interested when I had the slots because my auntie was like, why don't you go to House of Assembly or go somewhere to Ikeja, go to Alausa to do your internship. But I wasn't interested. So they got me another slot, which was TVC communications. And okay, it was fine. I've always wanted to work at TVC or go to TVC because of the whole memory of celebrity. So yeah, so so they told me for my 3 months I was going to share myself in the 3 different pieces. We have TVC News, we have TVC Entertainment, then we have Max FM. So they were like, I'll use 1 month each. But I started with Max FM and I was in the digital marketing department. Then they asked me to be in social media. At first, like for the first 2 weeks, it wasn't like easy because I'm just used to it, and I started tweeting. I started with Twitter, and I'm always scared of Twitter. I'm not going to lie. Twitter is
So
like,
they'll
because
not
of this
drag you,
whole
Abby.
idea of, yes, like everybody's always coming for you, that kind of thing.
So they'll not drag
So
you.
I was really, really like, oh, Twitter, no, I'm not there. But my supervisor was like, you can do it. I see you are very smart, you're intelligent. Why don't you just do it? And okay, it went fine for like, I think the second week of me joining and enjoying my Twitter live, they banned Twitter in Nigeria. That was when everybody was using
What's
VPNs to come
2020?
on Twitter. Do you get? And I was like, oh, I've already started using this thing. I find it very interesting. And okay, we diverted. They moved me from handling Twitter to handling Instagram, making use of Canva. And gradually, I started having interest. And imagine an intern interning other interns. I don't know if my English is correct, but like I'm an intern, but I'm supervising other interns. Like
Wow.
me, I'm the one. My supervisor can leave me. She's going to go into the studio. She'll be like, teach the rest. And I'm like, madam, come. Do you remember I'm just new here? Like, what's this? So that was how I found myself into it. And I was supposed to use 3 months, but I ended up using like close to 5 months because I already lost count. I didn't resume school. Instead of me to go back to school, I was enjoying my internship. That was how it all started. And towards the end of my internship, my supervisor told me, do you have a LinkedIn account? And I was like, she was like, have that LinkedIn account, grow yourself, grow it, just explore. And that was how I found myself in the social media page. And also, I love content creating. I love dancing. Like TikTok is another way that has helped me, because it's like you're on TikTok, you're learning new things. Everybody's like new ways of, someone is editing or something. And that was how I like found myself in social media. I decided like, okay, when I'm done with school, I'm going to pick up courses, professional courses in it. And when I came back from school, I decided to register for like 3 courses that like I did on Coursera. I did one physical class, and I did another one from church. But the church one was like digital marketing, it's a skills acquisition. And I started learning. And I feel like no one is an island of knowledge. If you feel like you're done learning, there is something new that would come up again. And I was learning. Do you get every day new things? And that was how I found myself in social media space. And I felt like, okay, yes, now that I'm good at this thing, even if I'm not too good, why don't I just reach out to friends that have a business? Yo, come, let me help you manage your page. And that was how it all started. I started managing pages, and I was seeing results. I was even the advert everybody does on Instagram. I wasn't new to it. My supervisor is always doing it, but I was like, I reached out to her. I was like, okay, mom, I'm done. I'm doing this. I'm reaching out to my friends. I'm asking them to let me manage their page, and they're like, she was like, oh, that's nice. I told her, how do I run adverts? She taught me. It was like just an online conversation. And after the conversation, I went back, okay, did it on my personal page. And I was like, okay, nice. Then one day I was just talking casually in class, and that was when I was still in school though. I was just casually talking, and someone was like, wait, okay, you have ideas about social media. Do you know how to undo page? And I was like, yes, I do. And that was how I got my first gig. That I was like, I charged monthly. That was how I got my first gig. So when I was done with school, everybody's like, will you get a job? I'm like, me, 9 to 5. Nah. I was like, I'm not going to do 9 to 5 work, because we were like, I said, fine, remote work is actually like very tiring and all. But I'm like, 9 to 5 is worse. Lagos traffic is hell. I was just thinking of so many things that was how I just decided to like just be a freelancer, just learn on my own. If you come to me, if you want me to manage page for you, and I feel like, okay, I don't like the pay is not favorable for me, I'm going to tell you no. I feel like there's no fight. You have to speak out your amount or something. That's just it. So that's where I had the whole interest about social media management, all from my internship. It all started from internship, and it's been a great journey, though it's like bittersweet. And that's where I'm going to like talk about what social media management is all about. So social media management or manager is someone who typically handles other companies or someone's social media platforms. I don't know if anyone is getting me.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, so it's when you like pick up social media platforms. And I wrote something in my notes that to be successful in this role, you need to possess a knack of storytelling. If you say, if someone is, okay, so there's this of my social media influencer that I like so much. That's Tomike Adeoye. I don't know if anyone knows her, but if you know Tomike Adeoye, when she posts on her page, on her Instagram, she has she possesses this idea of dragging people to her page by storytelling. That's not how you want to do it. I don't know how you want to do it, but if you go through if she posts something and you feel like, okay, she just posting pictures, and you go through the caption, you find it captivating. Yes, it's captivating in the extent that like it's very attracting. She has like you to be a social media manager, fine, you don't know how to write, but you have to be very like you have to have the whole stuff of writing stories, and you have to have a keen for design and the ability to analyze your work. If you're unable to analyze your work, if you're unable to storytell, if you're unable to have a very keen eye for design, I don't think you'll be successful in that aspect of social media management. Fine, they always say every social media manager needs to know how to design. I don't know how to design. I'm not going to lie. All I just do is reach out to my friend. Oh, baby girl, what's up? This is my content calendar for the month. Do the job. That's what I do. I don't know how to design. So she's the one, since she knows, okay, yes, this girl likes design, like designs that are very attractive. You'll be the one to know. But also you don't have to like put the whole job on her. if you don't know how to design. Also, like, follow up with that. Like, okay, yes, this is it. You are responsible for developing strategies. That's social media managers. We are responsible for developing strategies in the sense that if you're working for a hair brand, and I'm not talking about big brand, probably all these, we have brands for natural hair. They teach you every day how to grow your natural hair, how to do this, how to do that. If you're working for a brand like that, you need to strategize, need to know what works for them and what doesn't work for them. Go through the page. Not that you just, okay, yes, I already have money, I already charged this person, so I have to go through their previous post. Strategize, analyze what was working for them and what wasn't working for them in the past. Like, make sure you are calm enough to know, okay, yes, this thing was working for this person before. So now, if you're this time, but if the person, like, people that don't know really much about social media, they like to post animated pictures. And I feel like animated picture is not the only thing that drags people to your page this time around. Pick up your phone, make content, make videos. Just look for a very nice background in your house, in your office space, anywhere it is. It's ring lights. You don't even really have to use ring lights. You can use what do you call it? Lamp, table light or something. Just create content. Think outside the box. Yes, think outside the box. Like, think outside the box. You don't have to, like,
improvise.
Think outside the box and be like, okay, I want to make a video. Same as people on TikTok that they are doing all this color change, blah, blah, this, that one. It was because they were able to think outside the box. If they were unable to think outside the box, I don't think the way everybody's finding TikTok addictive now, I don't think you would have done that in the past or even recently. If they were unable to think outside, if they're unable to think outside the box, people won't spend much time. Like me now, if I go on TikTok, I can decide to spend 5 hours on TikTok. Just scrolling. And one way or the other, you are learning.
Ideas for content, yeah?
Yes, one way or the other, you are learning also. Then also, I wrote down, if you're interested in social media manager, you need the tags, one of the tags, or I wrote out 4 tags actually that you need to do. That's increase followers and driving engagement. When you're increasing followers and driving engagement is the essence that when someone comments on your posts, you don't have to wait till 2 hours before you reply that comment. Comment immediately, like immediately. Even if it's a very bad one. And there's something I actually figure out about some people. They don't know how to reply comments. And some people be like, even if anyone is dragging you, you don't have to block. In a nice way. Like, just, I feel like people
you have to learn how to interact with customers. Basically,
yes,
you have to have this customer relationship.
And have this customer relations. Know when, okay, fine, they are dragging you. They're like, you're not supposed to post this. Yes, I've heard. You just be like, oh, okay, thank you very much. It won't repeat itself. Do you get those kind of interaction? I feel like the person that is trying to drag you or trying to, like, drag your name to the mud will be like, okay, this person doesn't have my time. Let me just, like, leave the person alone. Another thing is strategize content and campaigns. If you want to campaigns in the sense that if you want to make an awareness for something, strategize in a way that is going to be very, very, very attractive. Don't just because, okay, you want to bring out new thing, you know, do drum rolls, nah, it doesn't work that way. You make sure your campaign designs is mind-blowing. Like, they'll see it and they'll be like, okay, yes, these people are about to give us something new. Even if what the campaign is all about is trash. That even if what the campaign is all about is trash, just make sure your design is really, really attractive. Like, okay, they want to say something and you be like, come 6 p.m. There's no how. If you're having 300 people that engage or audiences that come to your page to check something, once they see that stuff and it's a sponsored ad and it's like 1,000, people will be so eager. It's just like when you want to run giveaway. No Nigerians will like giveaway. Any small giveaway, our head, boom, 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 boom. So, like, just do it that way and people like, okay, come 6 p.m. we have a news for you. Do it in a very capitative way, in a very attractive way. Another thing is posting and monitoring social media platforms. And social media platforms, we have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, name it. Just
That's
make
a
sure
lot.
that's a lot. And I'm
That's
still
a
going to
lot.
talk, and I'm going to talk about the users, like our monthly users on each of them. So when you're posting, make sure you make use of we have Sprouts. Yes, Sprouts makes you like analyze your data. You'll be able to
Okay, now you're talking
follow
about
up.
tools to for
Yes, the
analysis,
tools. Yes, you'll be able to follow up. Okay, now you'll be able to follow up. Okay, I posted this thing 10 a.m. It's going to give you the time your audiences were able to check. Like now, if you post 10 a.m., you might not get a lot of traffic that time, but you just check to show you, okay, by 10 a.m. or immediately when you posted, you had like 3 people that checked out your page. Then you'll be able to engage when your audiences are always online. Sometimes they tell you your audiences are always online by 6 p.m. It tells you the gender, if it's a male or a female. That's like that. You need to know. And also, lastly, to the last part, if you want to be a social media manager, you need to have your skills. You need to know how to edit. You need to know how to write. You need to have an eye for designs. You need to have an eye for designs. You need to understand your social media platforms or all social media platforms that you're using. You need to understand that you need to be timeliness, and flexible. You need to know how to edit. Fine, you might be like, editing is very stressful. Yes, we know editing is stressful. It's not easy to edit, especially when it comes to video editing. It's very, very, very stressful. Like me, I never learned how to edit. I just knew from me picking up my phone, playing around with my phone. And that was where I learned how to edit videos. If it's for pictures, I had someone that, okay, we were very close. And that was how I learned picture editing. But then it's been like since 2018. Do you understand? So that's it. And for now, let me just stop here so that I don't take other people. Thank you.
I mean, you have basically told people how to go and start social media management job and stuff. But thank you. That was really good. And I mean, I can pick out a lot of things you said. You've talked about the fact that the idea that management is even attached to it means you're doing a lot. You're working with different departments, especially if you're working in a company, you're probably working with the design team, you're working with, if there's a proper marketing team and you're there, you're working with the team too. So, I mean, that is a lot of skill sets to actually have when you want to become a social media manager. And I think that's really good. And thank you for sharing your journey. That was quite an interesting journey. How that from a BA, I think it's BA, right? BA in International Relations, if I'm not mistaken. From a BA in International Relations, you said pivot into social media management. And I mean, that's really profound. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for giving us the step. I'm sure a lot of people have noted several things. She has talked about tools like Sprouts. She has talked about engagement, driving it. Basically, she has given the job of a social media manager. She came here to teach us today. And that was really, really profound. Thank you so much, Mary, for that. Thank you so much. And we'll be moving to Malik. Malik, can you hear me? Sorry that it took a bit of time to get to you, but I mean, it's design. It's design. We're getting ready to be blown away. Hi, Malik, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, great. Good morning to you. Great to see you. I think you guys are like the proper tech bros now. They're like the proper tech bros now. There's a thing called design Twitter. Am I right?
Yeah.
There's design Twitter. Man, design Twitter is a very oppressive space on Twitter. Anytime design guys are gathering like this is something else, because I think a lot of people are into designs, and I think that's amazing. So Malik, basically, I mean, when I went through your LinkedIn profile, I noticed that number one, you studied elect. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I
Okay.
studied elect.
Awesome. You studied elect, and also you've done quite a number of development courses like web dev, back end. I saw quite a number of things. So I'm wondering why you're basically in the product design space when you have knowledge of this, or are you doing both or something? What's going on with that?
Okay, so currently my major is actually product design.
Okay.
So, and but I also do like mobile app development, web development, backend, as the case may be. So so that's just it basically. And I think I've been designing for close to 4 years now.
Wow.
And for software development, give or take, I would say a year plus, a
Okay.
year plus. So, I mean, I don't like to say hey, I'm a jack of all trades, but I think my knowledge about software development basically has actually helped me in the way that I design products. So because I mean, as a product designer, our goal basically is to help the life of the users to build a better product for them, a seamless one. And then there is always the conflict that will come with you are trying to please the users while you indirectly you are actually causing headache for the developers. So your design
I've heard
needs
that a
to
lot. I've heard that a lot. I've heard that
exactly.
sometimes when
So
design guys do their thing, the developers are complaining that why did you make this design so complex? This, that.
exactly,
So
exactly.
basically, it just seems like basically developers are dependent on designers. Is that correct?
Yes, developers are dependent on designers.
Designers.
So, and I am of the school of thought that as a designer, you also, as much as you factor in the users in designing a product, you also have to factor in the capacity of your engineering team.
Okay.
So if your engineering team, if you are bringing a design that's, let me say, an immersive design, for example, and your engineering team, you understand that, okay, these guys, say you are in a startup, you don't have a lot of time to be implementing UI designs. You only have the time to implement your business logic. So if you are bringing designs that are immersive, that will take a longer period of time to implement the UI, what the users will see and feel, then I don't think you've done justice to that product that you are building. So I always try to take that into consideration while building a product. And what has helped me in taking some of these critical decisions is the fact that I know how to write the code. So I know how the code works on the back end. So I know that if I design this, no, this is going to take a lot of time for the developer to implement. So with that, putting that into consideration, I can design interface that even in my head while designing, I know how the developer will implement it. So I know that who give or take in a space of 2 weeks, we should design, web development, software development.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that, Malik. I mean, that's profound. And I think I have one more question for you. I know the idea of coding actually helps you in design and vice versa, because I've heard people that do software development to say having an idea of design kind of helps their framework and all of that. But I really want to shatter this table that has been up for so long. Is it possible to excel as a UI UX designer without having the knowledge of coding at all? Is it very, very much possible?
Yes, it's very, very, I mean, that's the norm. A couple of designer friends that I have don't know how to write code, and these
And they're
guys
still doing
are
well.
really, really like more. I mean, based on our definition of these guys are doing great. So it's not. I mean, it's a personal choice for me. I could decide not to learn how to write code and still be very good as a designer. So, but the fact that if you work in a startup, I have a startup of my own, which is also Sango. I co-founded with someone else. So being the product design lead means I don't have to stay as design alone. I need to know how it works, how the engineering works. So learning how to code actually helps me in managing the engineering side better. So it's not a choice that I sat down and decided to say, okay, I want to learn how to code. It's situations that actually pushed me to learn how to code, because you are building a startup, you are bringing engineering on board. you also know how to speak their language, how to do a bit of this, a bit of that. So if your backend guy is saying, oh, this is what I'm currently working on and it will take me time, if you are using the language, if you know a bit about the code, you can say, okay, this will take, I know this will take a longer period of time, but how may I help? So if he understands, you know how to code, you can do a bit of that side. Let him do like the run through of the code, verify it, so does will this work and all, and just push to production. Compared to if I stay alone on the design end, and if my developer is given 4 weeks to implement it, it is that 4 weeks that we are going to stick to, because he is the only one that can actually write that code.
Okay, I mean that actually makes sense. That means basically it's when you, as you're scaling higher in your career path, I mean you are the product design lead for someone else. So that means basically you have to interface with both designers and engineers, and you have to at least understand that. So it actually comes as an advantage for you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Exactly.
But guys, just so you know, just like what Malik said, you don't necessarily need to know how to code to excel as a UI UX designer, right? And in fact, developers are even dependent on your design to actually put it through and for them to actually come up with it and all. So I mean, I just wanted people to know that, because a lot of times people are very, very skeptical and scared. When they hear design, I don't know, at the back of their ear or somehow they're still hearing code there. And I mean, it's not far-fetched, because when the tech things started coming out, a lot of people were going in as developers, as engineers and stuff like that. So I just wanted to break that down so people can actually understand. And finally, Malik, can you just share us a bit of your story with us? How did you know that you wanted to go into product design? Was he a friend? Did you stumble on it on your own? And did you take courses? Because I mean, you said you've been doing design for about 4 years now. So did you take courses to get to this stage where you're at in terms of designs, or how did you even go about it? Can you just walk us through that for a minute or two?
Okay. I mean, I'll be truthful here. My greatest motivation to learn technical skills or digital skills per se is actually money. That was my greatest motivation.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was money, because I think it was in around 2018 or thereabout. Yeah, around 2018. I was in final year, and then the reality set in. Even though I studied electrical engineering, and I know that there is prospect if to say I finished as an electrical engineering graduate, and then I tried to reach out to a couple of people that I'm looking for a job. I know that there is prospect there. I could easily get a job. But I studied electrical engineering without, I studied electrical engineering just to pass, not necessarily to make it as a career choice.
Okay.
So in my final year, it was the reality setting that yes, I'm finishing school, I have to be like dependent of my parents. So now I have to make money. So, and then I started looking into what sort of skills can I learn to make this money. I mean, I did digital marketing, I made money there. I did content writing, I did social media management, I did I did web design. So I could say I touched a bit on all of these skills. So the reason why I didn't stay longer on most of these skills was after doing it for a couple of the other thing that I factored in was how long will it take me to learn this skill before I start making money? So I weighed in all these factors. I realized that with social media management, if I could dedicate, like say, a full month of say 8 hours a day, full month, I could really get something that 1 month, and then start earning a token in the second month based on my the people within my network. And then same thing with web design, same thing with content writing. So I write like generally because I was a campus journalist. So it was easier for me to transit into content writing after school. But all of this did not really give the, how do I say, the excitement that I was looking for. I mean, the sort of, in quotes, the sort of money I was looking for. So, and then I knew that if I should go into coding, I love to code, but I knew that if I should go into coding at that point, it will take me a longer period of time. Coding is
Very
not
true.
just like 1 month, 2
That's-
months, and then you start. No,
I've heard you need at
it's
least 6
not.
months.
Yeah, at least 6 months of intensive learning of
Mhm.
6 months before you now start reaching out for internship positions or internship opportunities. Some may be paid, some may not be paid. So I did not have that luxury of time. So I started with design, which was web design. So I did web design for about a year before someone actually introduced me to product UI UX design. So it was still in the space of final year. It was chaotic, learning so many digital skills, and then trying to settle for one. So I was between web design before I was introduced to product design by my co-founder, actually, my co-founder for Sanwo. So it was sort of a mentor to me. So I spoke to him about learning digital skills, and he pinpointed like UI design because I already have like the basic knowledge of design, which is web design. So it would help me in learning that faster. And then I reached out to he also introduced me to a couple of his friends that are UI designers that, oh, reach out to these guys. They would help you in transiting into product design or UI UX design easier. So it was between that 2018, 2019, it was these people that I go to and they really helped.
Mhm.
However, in 2020, I realized that I want this as a career. Now, I've tried all of that digital skills and I realized that, okay, I think I want to be take design as a career generally. So so the next thing that I did was to actually signed up for a course. Even after I have learned design outside the curriculum of maybe a product school or a digital skill training or thereabout. So because I realized that if I need to put it as a professional career, there has to be a starting point. So, and that was why I actually took that course in 2020. So I can say that, oh, my professional career started in 2020.
And with so school, so academy, so.
Exactly. So school, so academy. But I've been designing before then. So whenever I tell people that, oh, my design career started in 2020, even in that 2020 space, and people saw my designs, they were like, oh, you are telling me you started in 2020, yeah, this is how your design looks like. And that was when I started telling people that my professional career started in 2020, but I've actually been designing before then. So bottom line is my motivation into product or UI UX design was money. I was looking for a skill that I would learn within the shortest possible time and be able to make money with it.
Thank you so much. I mean, you've said a lot of things that I think people probably know, or people that probably know it, they're not taking it seriously. Sometimes the motivation for tech skills or for learning the tech skills is money, and that's fine. That's actually fine. That's actually fine. As long as you can be dedicated and committed to it, you will make your money and you'll be good. I mean, when they say tech people are doing really okay, it's not a far-fetched thing. It's actually true because at least if you are working and you're making your money and you're living comfortably, that's absolutely fine. There is nothing to be worried about. And the interesting thing is that these skills are like skills you can learn in a kind of a short period of time. If you can dedicate, I think I'll say an average of 3 months, 2 months, and you then do a lot of practice, you'll really be good. I mean, I'm going to be going through our speakers once again to just ask them some questions again. But I mean, if you have questions for any of our speakers, please feel free to leave them in the chat section and we'll attend to them, right? So I'll be cycling back to Mary. Can you hear me, Mary? I'll be circling back to Mary. Can you hear me? Mary, are you there? Please leave your questions in the chat section if you have any questions, and we'll get to that quickly. Okay, seems like Mary is not here. All right. So I'll just circle back to Dele. Dele, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, very well. I can hear you.
All right, awesome. So I mean, you did a very, very detailed explanation. you have a very detailed explanation, and you did a very detailed explanation about how you got into business analysis and all of that. So I wanted to just probably point out some skill sets you need to have, to be a good business analyst. And possibly you can tell us what you can be looking at, like what you're looking at in terms of like salary range or payments as a business analyst. You can give us a range, maybe depending on experience and all of that. Could you walk us through that? The skill sets to become a proper business analyst, and maybe the salary range, depending on your level of experience and all of that. Thank you so much, David.
All right. Thank you very much, and I appreciate other speakers for their points they have given out. It was quite expositive. Before I go into answering your question, I just want to admonish everyone here that don't be limited with your knowledge. Don't be limited with what you already know now. So it's you find out that when you try to do other stuff, you would know that you can actually do more than what you're already doing. So going straight into your questions as to the skill set to be required to be a business analyst. So it's quite amazing to know the kinds of the skills entailed in becoming a business analyst. From let me take it from the soft skills, because those are very, very, very essential. Very, very essential. Number one thing, the first skill I would say is problem-solving skills. So you must be able to, you must know how to analyze a problem. That is, okay, when a company is facing a problem, or you're trying to find a solution to a problem, first you need to understand the problem. Understanding is very, very essential. So you understand what the issue is, what they are going through, then you understand what the business scope of that organization is, because you don't want to find a solution that will not fit into what the company is into, or that will be against their goals and target objectives. So you need to understand the scope of the business. So when you understand what the issue is. If you're able to understand what the issue is, before you understand what the issue is, you would have communicated with the managerial board, the manager board, and the other people in the managerial post to know, okay, what is the problem you are facing at this moment. So when you are able to understand the problem, you now do some background check. What are the causes of this problems? So when you're able to get what the problem's causes are, then you now brainstorm how you can you can battle these problems. You brainstorm. So when you are brainstorming, you cannot do that alone. You can't do that alone. I'm very sure, because there are many times I've worked on projects that I want to do it alone, but I found out that I need many information from other departments, from other people. So you have to, as I've mentioned earlier, you communicate with the marketing team, because after you find your solution and they're going to implement it, they will be they are part of the people that will make the implementation work. So you communicate with them, you communicate with project management department too, because one thing I want to say is, as a business analyst, there is a part of project management that you can specialize in. There's a part of business project management that you can specialize in, and there is a part of data analysis that you can specialize in. So business analysis give us the ability to bring about, bring from every department together at a place. So you have a knowledge of marketing, you have a knowledge of project management, you have a knowledge of data analysis, you have a knowledge of coding at large, because coding is actually one of our aspects too. So understanding the situation, brainstorming what the possible solution is before you now go into, okay, what do we need to face it? when we understand the problem. Do we have a data available? If we don't have a data available, can we get data from customers? And that is very, very easy, but it might be challenging to get data from customers, but you can still get data in one way or the other. Is there previous data you can work with? So if there is previous data you can work with, you as a business analyst, you can analyze the data yourself. Or if there is a data analyst person that can work for you, that you can use to analyze the data. So after you are able to come up with a model that can fit into solving the problem, then you now communicate this to project management, if that is in the software aspect, or you communicate it with the managerial board, if it is just in other aspects that they need to share with the other departments before it is well implemented. So you need communication, you need brainstorming, you need to understand the business scope, the like. So in terms of the working tools, the skills that you need, well, I would divide it into two categories. There are some that you don't need code for, and there are some that you need code for. So if you want to go for the one, you don't necessarily need to know how to code, as many other people have stated there, before you can become a business analyst. One thing is being able to think very deeply and to understand what the situation is. So if you're able to think deeply and see, okay, what is the possible solution to this problem, then you are a one step as a business analyst. Because business analyst means you being able to analyze, being able to understand, and being able to transform business models into actionable insight and the likes. So you need Power BI. Power BI, there is a coding aspect of Power BI, which is very, very easy to understand. Power BI, then you need Excel. There is also a coding aspect of Excel when you need to write macros and the likes, but you don't need to know the coding before you start using Excel. I'm sure many of us know how to use Excel, yeah? But some people find it difficult. But Excel is easy to understand, but sometimes it might be so challenging. So when you're going deep, I mean, so Excel is essential for a business analyst. So you can also go for Tableau. Tableau is similar to Power BI a bit, but from my experience, I would say it's easier than compared to Power BI. But there is another tool that is easier than two of them, ClickSense. Click, Qlik. Are we hearing me, please?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Jim.
Okay. So you can go for Click. Click is also very simple. But if you are going into if you are going to specialize in the marketing aspect, I think you will need the CRM, some CRM tools, which I mentioned that, sorry, I have some of them listed here. You need to learn Google Workspace, Zoho, and HubSpot if you want to learn some. So that is for people that are specializing in marketing aspect. So for the coding aspect, you need knowledge of SQL. That's simple syntax that you can learn as for database management. So it's easy to learn, but if you don't make use of it in time to time, you tend to forget it. So SQL is essential. Then Python in terms of creating models, analyzing data, and the likes. So you can do all this without coding as a business analyst. You may not go into the coding aspect. It will be so easy for you if you can pick up any of these non-coding tools that I've mentioned earlier, Power BI, Click, and Tableau, and the likes. So it will be so easy for you to start your journey as a business analyst. So in terms of the salary range, so if you are starting, okay, one thing I would say is that it might not be so easy for you to get a job immediately, but if you are lucky to get a job, as a beginner, you can start your journey with 100 plus. As a beginner, you can start your journey with 100 plus. And as time goes on, you can scale into 150, 200, 300, depending on the company you're working for. So I said earlier that you might not get a job immediately. So don't forget that you might need some skill to develop yourself if you are not getting a job. So I do advise people that you can do it for free or do it on a freelance. So I've worked for people that I did the job for them for free, that I didn't collect a dime, and this is part of my skills. So
just to gather
when
experience,
exactly. So when I'm doing interviews, I can tell them, I can boldly tell them that, okay, this is what I've worked for and the company that I've worked for. So even if it is not part of your official, professional experience, like in an office settings, so you can boldly tell them how you carry out the duty, how you perform the operations and the likes. So you can either do it for free, do it as internship, or do it as a freelance, or do it for yourself personally. So there are many data outside there that you can work with. There are many people that are finding people to work for them for free that you can just communicate with. You can reach out to any small organization growing up that, okay, this is what I want to do for you, and I would be happy if you can allow me to do this for you. So if they are willing to pay, fine. But if it is going to take too much of your time, just know that you are going in for it on a sacrificial basis. So just know what you're going to face. Except that you can just tell them that this is what you are going to charge them. And if they're going to buy it, then that is a check for you. So salary range, nothing less than 100 for me, even if you're starting, nothing less than 100, because we all know the economic and how the things is. So
Yeah, true.
you're going to work on it in an office settings. I'd advise, if you're starting new, you should not take less than 100.
All right, thank you, Dele, for that. I think that was very, very detailed and that was straightforward. So
Thank you,
depending on your experience, you can start earning from at least 100K. And trust me,
Yes.
because Dele said 100K does not mean you cannot start from an amount higher than that. If you have been able to
Exactly.
If you
Definitely. When I started, I didn't start with 100, so it was a bit higher than
you're
100.
just being humble, telling us 100. That's fine. Thank you so much
Yes,
for that.
actually, you might just find yourself in opportunity to get into companies that are bigger. So if the minimum pay for the company is 200, you can't just tell them that you want to take 100.
Yeah,
so you need
true.
to shift yourself up a bit, maybe 250 for a start. So when they are beating it down, they can beat it down to 200, and you'll be good to go with it.
All right, that's good. So business analysts out there, I mean, this Dele has done justice to how you can get started, the skill sets, what you need to learn. And don't be scared that he mentioned some things about programming. He said those things are like basic level things. So these are things you can actually learn when you join the business analysis program that we offer at Techies. I'll talk more on that later on. Thank you, Dele, for that. That was very, very insightful. Thank you so much. All right, Mary, are you there? Okay, Mary, are you there? Can you hear me?
I am sorry.
All right. Okay, so Mary, because of your timing and Mary has to leave, she has an appointment. So I think I just have two questions for you, right? So would you say joining an academy would be a way to fast track your growth process as a social media manager? And if so, what the skills and the learning process that you actually went through to learn about social media management, how were they productive for you compared to if you had actually started learning on your own? Can you just help us answer that question?
Okay, so joining an academy to learn social media management has helped me in the sense that I was able to, if I feel like if I'd learned on my own, I wouldn't have had these growths that I have now. I wouldn't have grown because I'm going to be procrastinating. You know, when you're learning on your own, there's sometimes that you just feel like, okay, today you procrastinate. But when you are learning an academy where you have different people, you're not the only one there. You have so many people, you paid for it. You would have the vibe. You have the energy. Like, okay, my classes are Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. You cancel out every other plans. You know that 3 days that you're using to learn, you are in that 3 days that you're using to learn, you're dedicating your time, your vision, your energy into it. So it has helped me. I was helped, yes. It helped me. Joining academy actually helped me rather than if I had learned alone. If I had learned alone, trust me, I don't think I'll be where I am right now. Probably because I don't like learning on my own. I feel like I always want to leave my comfort zone. If I've learned in my comfort zone, I wouldn't have this knowledge that I have now. That's it. I don't know if you get me or if I was able to answer your question correctly.
Yeah, that actually makes sense, because why I asked that question is, everybody's saying they can learn anything on their own, and that is very correct. But having a structured learning platform, belonging to a community or joining an academy is a way to just keep you accountable, is a way to keep you responsible. I would even add, just to make sure that at least you have someone that is pushing you, have people that you are learning alongside with, and these people can actually spur you and make you to keep learning. And then just like what Malik said, the fact that you are joining an academy means that you can actually point that, okay, this is when I kickstarted my career path in so program, so tech skill and all of that. That's important. So Mary, before you leave, because I know you have to leave now, do you have any last words for people that are looking forward to learning social media management or trying to explore it as a career path? Do you have any last words, any final remark for them?
Okay, so yeah, if you're there's one particular acrimony I have, which is SMART. S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for attainable, R stands for relevant, then T stands for time bound. If you're able to keep this 5 in check, trust me, there's nothing. If you are smart, if you're measurable, if you're attainable, if you're relevant, and if you have time bound, any other thing is just, let me use the word nasmos. If you know that, you just need to make sure that whatever it is you're doing, dedicate your time, make sure you're not distracted. Find that sometimes that you get distracted, and never talk yourself down. If you're not getting it at that period, give yourself time. With time, you'll catch up. It's not something, every speaker here, it's not something they learned within 2 weeks or within 1 month. It was a gradual process, or it is a gradual process. Even while the fact that we've gotten to this stage, we are still learning, and you just need to make sure you are not talking yourself down. You are relevant, you are attainable, you are measurable, you are smart enough to take up whatever it is. So being a social media manager is actually very fun. I'm not going to lie. It is really fun, though there's sometimes that you feel you have the bitter parts. But regardless, keep your head straight. Never look down on yourself, and the sky is the starting point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. That final remark was very, very it was very, very how do I put it, inspiring. I think everybody should really look forward to setting smart goals and giving yourself time. You actually have to give yourself time. It's really very important. Thank you so much, Mary. I know you have to leave now, but we're really glad to have you on board. We're really glad for you to walk us through
thank you.
Starting out as a social media manager or excelling in that particular field. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mary has to leave, but we'll drop her details in the chat section, so you can connect with Mary via LinkedIn or via Twitter. All right, now thank you, Mary. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
All right. Okay, so we are pressed for time, so we might have to be a bit more time conscious and all. Lillian, I think everybody has been waiting for this. Lillian, please, can you hear me? Hi, Lillian, can you hear me? Okay, I think you're muted. Or okay. Hi, Lillian, can you hear me? Okay, I can actually hear you. Please, can anyone hear Lillian?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Lillian, I think all right, great, thank you. I think your mic is probably not connecting because it shows that you are not muted, but I can't hear you speak. So I don't know if it's possible for you to reconnect back. Maybe that would actually solve the problem, if possible. If you could just reconnect that. Okay, thank you. That would be great. So while we wait for Lillian, please, you can drop your questions. We'll address your questions on the chat section. All right. Okay, since it's taking a bit of time for Lillian to join, because I think I want her to address this question that's in the chat section. Okay, while she's joining, probably let's move on to Kayode. Sorry, can you hear me, Kayode?
I can hear you.
All right, great. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So I think I want you to just tell us, the possibilities that lie in technical writing as a career path. Like talk about the range of payments, places that you can work, and if possible, how do you think, what's the best way to start your journey as a technical writer? What would you advise our audience here?
All right. Thank you very much, Tommy. Well, let me start with the question you ended with. So basically, starting off as a technical writer, I think, like we used to say, it's not absolutely compulsory for you to, learn coding and programming languages. However, like I
Thank you for
mentioned,
repeating that. Thank you for repeating that, but I'm sure you're going to explain better. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not absolutely compulsory. However, like I stated earlier, it just gives you this, it makes your work easier when and if you eventually you become a technical writer. So personally, I advise friends and colleagues, right, that, if you can, you should just, basic JavaScript, of course, it depends on what technology or what software your company uses and what have you, but just basic technologies, you can pick them up here and there. And it's not absolutely compulsory, like I stated earlier, but it just gives you this confidence in yourself that you actually really do understand all of these processes and what have you. But starting off as a technical writer, of course, there are various internship opportunities. There are various internship opportunities, growth opportunities that you have. We have Google Season of Docs that's so it's like an open recruitment for Google, where from Google, where Google recruits the like onboard companies. So these companies bring in technical writers, aspiring technical writers, to work as an intern. So it's basically a paid internship role where you work with technical writing managers and whatever. So you work for the company as an intern, and then you understand their processes. Then it's more or less like a learning process, a learning platform that Google gives aspiring technical writers. But it's a paid internship role. However, also similarly, you can, of course, take courses. There are a lot of courses on Udemy. There's this guy on Twitter, Hagbaki. I used to follow him. He's a techpreneur, right? He founded Haptlearn. I don't know if anyone knows Haptlearn. So of course.
Yeah, I know Haptlearn, yeah.
Yeah. So I think he has a technical writing course. However, beyond all of these things, before you even venture into all of these things that I'm saying, you have to actually have a definition of what you want to do, what you want to achieve. So I'm going to transition into the other question you asked earlier. So like as in every other writing, you have to, of course, have a niche that you want to carve out for yourself. So there are various aspects of technical writings. We have conceptual writings, we have guides, we have references, we have a lot of them, a host of them like that. So there are various, like I said, there are various aspects, and you have to be able to define what you actually want to do, your stronghold, where you want to settle in, where you want to focus your ability, where you want to grow yourself in. So when starting off, you have to be able to define this, and I think that will influence how and what courses and what learning you take. But starting off, I feel like it's just better to start off as a
A
generalist, right? So
generalist, yes. And
yeah,
definitely that is basically what we offer in Techies. We have a technical writing course. And
okay,
that would
great.
actually help you to understand better which niche to
Yeah,
go
and
into. But you have to start off as a generalist.
as
So
a
definitely,
generalist, I think,
yes.
yeah, I think that's the actually best way to proceed in this line, so that you would know actually what works for you, what you feel like you are more accustomed to, what's where you feel like you can function
Better,
optimally and best, and all of those things. So basically, I think that's the way you have to learn, you have to research, you have to read, you have to learn processes, you have to understand how these processes work. So and then of course there are series of books that we have, that's of course documented by seasoned technical writers over the years. So I think if anyone wants to access these books, I think I can, of course, give them the list, or maybe I will drop them in the chat box as soon as I'm done
We'll probably
speaking.
share with them later. So can you just tell us, like, what's the salary range and like what's
Oh
the
well,
expected amount of payment, so people can, some people came into tech for money. So let's give them an idea
yeah,
of what they can
yeah.
actually explore when they get into the technical writing space.
Well, I don't know, but averagely, and in the US, I believe that a technical writer makes a lot of money, especially when you convert it to Nigerian naira, right?
Definitely. I think that is
Um,
very interesting for people to hear. Please,
so
loud on it, loud on it.
okay, so basically we have annually per annum you can make up to $70,000 depending on the company you're working for. So basically, this is how it works. Um, in most companies, they view technical writers as important, as very, very important to ensure that their product is scaling properly. So we have the product itself, we have the developers, but these developers, they know what they are doing, they know the solution they're trying to provide. But how do we make our users, how do we integrate our users into understanding the full capacity of what solution we are providing? So it's actually a big job, to be honest. It's something you can pursue for many years, for many years. So in the US, you can earn up to $70,000, but starting off, of course, you can start off with $20,000 per annum, $30,000 per annum, depending on what company you work for, and depending on the industry, of course, the industry you are doing your technical writing. So in fintechs, in payroll companies, and I work for a payroll company, and of course, it's been great. And you of course, you earn a lot. So let me just, I don't want to give
Thank you.
specific figures and
Specifics,
stuff.
all right,
Yeah.
that's fine. But I mean, you see, he was even talking about earning in annum. That's how they calculate salary in the US, right?
Yeah.
So you're just going to divide it by itself. So if you're going to be earning about $20,000 per annum, that means you are making
over $1,000 per month.
Over $1,000 per month. So I mean, that is very, very interesting.
Huge.
I think
Yeah.
that's huge. That's huge. That's a good way to start. And technical writers in the house, I think you should look out for this. We at Techies, we have a technical writing course that you can get started in, and we are starting our next batch in February. That's in about less than 2 weeks. So you can actually jump on board and just start your technical writing career with that. Thank you so much, Kayode, for addressing that. That was very, very helpful.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, you're very welcome. Lillian. The network tried its best, but we are glad to have you back.
You can hear me now.
Yes, absolutely, clearly,
Okay.
and very, very well. All right, so I'll just start off with the I'll start with the question on the group. Someone was asking that, do you need to have idea of UI UX design before you become a product manager? Is that a thing?
Yes, actually, you do need to have some basic knowledge of UI UX, especially UX. So you need to be able to understand, because as a product manager, you'll be interfacing with your users a lot. You also be doing research apart from your UX team doing those research. So you actually need to have understanding of UI UX
All right, great. So at least you can be able to, because I know as a product manager, you are interfacing with the design team, you're interfacing with probably the marketing team. So at least you're able to have some synergy going on, understanding how the product works and how best it will be represented when it's out there. Thank you so much for that. So Lillian, if you were to advise, someone that is considering product management as a career right now, how would you, talk to the person? How would you advise the person to start? Do you think there are some certain basic skill set the person should have? And do you think that learning in a structured academy could actually be of help for them to kickstart their product management journey? What do you think about that?
Okay, thank you for the question, Tommy. So I think I should even start with what product management is, because some people on this call might not even know what it is, right? So product management is the business process of planning, developing, launching, and managing a product, right? So it includes the entire life cycle of a product, from ideation to development to it's going to the market. So like when the idea for, let's say, Instagram came up, there was somebody there who was managing that whole idea process, right? Working with different teams to build it out. And when it was being developed, there was someone there that was managing that process. When they took it out to the market for people to, start using this product, there was someone that was also managing that process. So that is product management in a nutshell. So you're working closely with different teams, designers, developers, QA, yeah, that's quality assurance. You're working with digital marketers, name it, like the whole team, you're working with them, right? And you're also talking to stakeholders. So the stakeholders like the CEO of the company, and I know different types of stakeholders in the company. So you're doing that. Now, I want to start with when you want to start as a product manager, there are three things, right? So there's the why, right? So there's why, there is the how, and there is the what. Now, why? Why should you get into product manager? Now, if you want to into product management, if you want to become a product management, right, you should make sure that you get fulfilled, right? Like in your day-to-day life, right? You get fulfilled by solving problems for others. Because if you don't like solving problems for people, you cannot be a product manager, because that's what you're trying to do as a product manager. You're trying to solve it's trying to solve problems. So you hear that, okay, let's say people in a certain location, they don't have access to internet. Then you think of a solution. How do we provide internet access to people like in rural communities? Or how do we deliver a solution that is app-based to people in rural areas? So you're not starting of something like, okay, let's build a USSD solution that could reach out to them, because those people, they don't have access to smartphones. They are more into like using those simple mobile phones. So USSD can be. So if you know that you don't like solving problems for people, don't become a product manager, right? Next thing, driving business growth. If you do not like, growing businesses and all, do not become a product manager. If you just like to, static and it's not your interest, do not become a product manager, right? If you do not like working closely with people, different people, do not become a product manager, because you're interfacing with different people. You're working with developers, like I said, different people. If you don't like that, do not become a product manager.
So you must not
If
work in a
you
team.
don't like developing, exactly. If you don't like developing strategies, do not become a product manager. If you just like, I'm just sitting down, I don't want to stress my head too much about this thing, don't become a product manager, because that's your day-to-day dealing. You'll be developing strategies, different strategies. Okay, there's a new competitor in the market. How do I outsmart this person? How do we should we make our price for our products lower? What strategy should we use to, outsell this competitor? So if you don't like
strategy making.
Exactly. If you don't like that, do not become a product manager, right? If you don't like getting things done, do not become a product manager. If you're someone that just, I don't want to stress myself, do not become a product manager. If you don't like leading teams, do not become a product manager, right? If you don't like communicating, do not become a product manager, because one of the skills you need as a product manager is to be a good communicator. You need to be able to communicate with the different teams. I think Malik was talking about developers and designers. Sometimes I hear they are clashing. Designer makes one kind of transition in the design, and the developer cannot implement it. If you cannot communicate with both of them to meet in the middle as a product manager, don't become a product manager. So those are things that you need to become a product manager, right? So why you should become a product manager? If you like doing those things, right, become a product manager. But if you don't like it, do not become a product manager. And again, if you don't like meetings, do not become a product manager. Because if you didn't love meetings, constant, like sometimes a day, right? My whole job for that day is meetings. I can have like
Meetings, wow.
10 meetings with 10 different teams, right? From morning to evening, I'm just having meetings, communicating with people. And also, if you don't like meetings, do not become a product manager because it entails a lot of meetings. Now, the next thing is how to become a product manager. I was talking about how may I transition. There are actually 4 parts, right? So you can either transition from a company in a large company. So let's say you are like me, I was a digital marketer, and I transitioned into product management. So that's one way you can do that. Then another way is to find a role in a company, say a junior PM role. So you get, let's say there's an associate role or there's an internship. That's another way you can get into product management. Another way is to join a startup, right? So I think mine was even a mix because I joined a startup studio and we're building different startups and all. So if you join a startup, because startups most times they're just starting, they're working lane, they don't have a lot of money, right? So they are looking for people, to help build the solution, and also you can work with the startup studio, or you can work with the startup. That's another way. Then another way to go into product management is start your own company, right? So you can start your own company, start building your own solution, be the product management manager of that solution, look for a need in the market and start solving that problem. That can help you become a product manager. So just to highlight the things I talked about, what you need to do to become a product manager, the skills you need to have. You need to be a problem solver. You need to be able to solve problems. You need to be a good communicator. You need to be a good leader. You need to be able to execute, be a good executor, right? You need to be able to make decisions, because a lot of the product decisions, it's going to fall under your table. You're the one that is going to make the decision of, okay, we should take out this feature first before this other feature. So you need to be able to make decisions, then communicate to stakeholders. You're talking to the CEO, you're talking to different teams. You need to have them buy into your vision for the product. So you need to be a good communicator. And then there are skills you need to learn, like UI, UX, right? Then also, like me, I do not code, but I actually did some basic coding before during my early days in the startup studio. I did some coding. So, like, if a developer is talking to me about codes and all, I know those terms like APIs, and also I can understand. So you don't need to learn how to code, but you need to understand those terms. You need to know when what's HTML. You need to know what HTML is. You need to know what CSS is. You need to know what APIs are. You need to know when they're talking about those things, data, strings. You need to have like an idea of what those terms are. So those are the things you need to become a product manager. Yeah. Then
Great.
okay, I think that answered your question. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, so it definitely did. How to get started, the reasons why you should consider becoming a product manager, and if you cannot communicate, I think a major part of the job role is being able to communicate and interface between different departments, which is very, very insightful and very, very detailed. Thank you so much. Also just touch on the payments range. I mean, you say you are VP of product, so I mean that's a lot of money or something. So could you touch on the salary range,
Okay.
scale of payments, depending on your experience, probably when you're starting out, and touch on how to get started, because at Techies we offer a product management course. So you mentioned, I think you mentioned earlier that you said you had to like do some courses and then you had to fit in a role because the present or the product manager at the time had to leave and all of that. So if you were given a chance again, how would you take your journey into product management? Would you rather apply to a school, you just randomly bust into the position and just take it up again? And I wanted to touch on that. Thank you.
Okay, so if I could do it again, right? I'm kind of self-driven. That's kind of person I am. If I want to learn something, I actually go about learning it. Right? I don't wait for someone. I think that's what have made me learn a lot of things, because if I see that, oh, I have interest
some
in
people are
this.
not self-driven like that. You have to push them.
Yes, exactly. I just go out to learn things. And I think learning from an academy, taking courses actually help. I actually took a lot of courses too, to help me in those starting days. Because once the PM left, she started teaching me and all. But once she left, I was just left on my own. So it's just me, this new role, right? So I had to take some courses, to help myself, develop myself for the role, right? So taking courses, they actually, learning an academy, it's actually a good way to go about it. I think it's something I did. I will still do again, right? Then talking about salary, it depends on the company, the type of company, right? So for an entry role, let's say zero, no experience, right? Definitely, that's an internship role. You should look at something under 100,000 in Nigeria, right? entry roles. You don't have experience. Let's say you're just learning, and the company can just give you a stipend, right, to help you and all. But let's say for let's say 1 year plus or so, you should be looking at 100 to 200,000, depending on the company, right? So you have that salary range. Then if you have from, let's say, 2 years experience to 4 years experience, you're looking at like 250 to 400,000, depending on the company. Again, like I said, so because if it's a startup that you're working with, it's the startup they're working lane until they raise funding before they have enough money to like pay everybody, buy everybody their MacBook and all of that, right? But at the beginning, it's going to be lean, and also it depends. But the salary is actually it's pretty okay, pretty good actually. So you can earn up to, I know PMs that are earning up to 700,000 a month that you get. So you can earn that range depending on your experience. I think from 3 to 5 years, you're looking at earning like 500 to 1 point. So it's unlimited depending on the company. That's the most important part, depending on the company.
Company. All right.
Right.
Thank you so much
Yes.
for that, Lillian. I think that was
You're
very,
welcome.
very detailed. That was very, I think everybody that needs to that wants to get started in product management already has a template to follow, right? Join an academy and learn from them, and then you start out maybe as an intern, but give it a bit of time and then you progress as you in your career path. Thank you so much for that, Lillian. That was really worthwhile. Thank you so much. And finally, we'll be having Malik on board. I'm so sorry, Malik, for the delay. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, great. So we just dive right into it. Just give us an idea of, how much you can earn as a product designer, depending on your experience, and also, just give a final remark on what you think people should do if they want to get started in product design or UI UX design.
Okay. So starting with what people should do when they are getting into UI UX design. So the concept of UI UX is there is a part that is that people can see, and then there's a part that people cannot see. So the UI aspect, which is when you are designing screens, is what people can see, and the UX aspect is basically they can't see. They can users can only feel it. So if you are starting out as a UI UX designer, I would actually implore that you, as much as you work on your UX, you also like work on your UI and you push out your UI. So because I'm always someone of the school of thought that what you see is actually what someone sees is what they would use to approach you. If they see that, oh, your UI is good, is this, is that, it makes you approachable, and then you can now tell them into the process of how you got to design this section like this, why you are using this button, why you are using that button. So your UI is the hook for most people that would approach you, maybe as a recruiter or someone who wants to get you on the project. So what will hook them to your to having that first conversation with you is the UI. So design beautiful screens as much as you can, push them out there, write the thought process behind them, and then also work on your UX. So because after you've gotten that chance for that conversation, what would now make that person stay is the thought process behind it, which is where your UX now comes into play. How have you thought about
documentation? Yeah.
Exactly. How have you thought about designing these screens? So what are the things you consider? Oh, my users are people in this category. My this is where they live. They don't have time to press phone too much. This is why I'm designing as a mobile application instead of a web application. So that is when it is during that conversation you now start to explain your expertise as a product designer or a UI UX designer. So to summarize it, I would say focus on your UI as much as you focus on your UX. The UI will get you the conversation, but what will make that person stay is the UX, the way, the thought process behind it. So and then for UI, I mean, you have to have the knack for design. That's always there. Like understand the basic principles of design. As a graphic designer, as a UI UX designer, these are very important. Understanding the basic principles of design. So this, that's the elementary. The moment you are able to understand that, then you can now start maybe understanding what are the laws of UX and start implementing them in your designs. So, I mean, talking about what people have to do, what you have to do to get started in UI UX design is something like what I've just explained. And there's no actually restrictions to how, there's no limitations to when you can do these things. I mean, it was still last month that I still did sort of a challenge for myself, which was redesigning splash screens of favorite brands. So, I mean, I could say, oh, I have a couple of projects that I'm working on. So why do I still need to say, oh, I want to take this sort of challenge with designing splash screens for known brands? It's because I want to redefine how I put myself out there again. I'm not a social person, so I don't post on LinkedIn every now and then, but I still have to tell people that I'm a product designer. So, and that is why I did that challenge last month. So I think the second question is about the salary expectation.
Yes. Different
So,
levels, different entry levels, roles and stuff like that.
Okay, for entry level, I can say you can get within 150,000 to 200 for entry level. And like I said, you can bargain more than that. It depends on how you can convince your recruiter that you are worthy of the role. And for mid-level, you can go as high as 300K to 400K. 400, 500K. I mean, there are no fixed price to these things, honestly. The way the Nigerian
300K to 400K in Nigeria now is really something.
Yeah, exactly. But there are still no fixed price to it. So there is a mid-level designer that earns about 800K, and there's another senior level designer that earns about 400, 500K. So company determines the type of company you are working with determines, and how you put yourself as that designer also determines. So, but if it is a freelance work, you negotiate as high as you can for your freelance project, because it may not be something repetitive. So it's not a job security. So negotiate as high as you can. Know that the skill set that you have can actually is within the range of the price you are negotiating. So, and that will give you that confidence to enter that negotiation. Like if someone is giving you a price that is not within your range, you would be confident to say no to that person.
So you definitely need to own your onions, know that, okay, yes, this is what I can deliver, and then you're able to present it to the person that you're bargaining on the price with.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Malik. That was very, very informative. I think everybody now has an idea of what each program entails. In technical writing, Kayobe did justice to that. Business analysis, Daily did justice to that. Product management, Lillian blew off the roof. Mary did justice to social media management. And of course, Malik just settled in on product design and UI UX design. So, I mean, thank you so much, guys, for sticking around this long. We apologize for going past our time, but some things just have to be said, right? And I'll just reiterate, we'll drop the links to our speakers, social media platform, their LinkedIn link and their Twitter, and so you can actually follow them and connect with them. So, I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. I hope you guys learned something today. So I'm at More Techies here. We are, like I said earlier, we are here for you. And currently we are running 6 programs. We're running programs like social media management, technical writing, product management, business analysis, UI UX design, and just new in the bag is product marketing, right? So, I mean, everything you've actually heard and learned right here, I think you should put it to practice. Everybody has recommended that staying with an academy just helps you to detail, your learning and your learning process and your journey basically into these roles that you really are looking forward to getting into. So, right in the chat section, there are several links there. We have a link to our academy where you can actually make a purchase for one of our courses. Like I said, our academy batch, the next batch is starting in February. That's in less than 2 weeks. So you can jump on it. And I mean, our academy is just for the duration of 2 months. That's 8 weeks. And the syllables are robust, able to take you from, the basics level to the advanced level in 2 months. And also, I mentioned the Talent Accelerator program earlier too, which is a way to demonstrate and, basically practice the knowledge that you've gained in the academy by building on digital products, by coming up with idea on a product and building it with a team, right? With a team. So I really want to admonish us to take that advantage right now, take advantage of this opportunity, jump on our academy that starts in in 2 weeks, just less than 2 weeks. So this is ample time enough for you to prepare. And I don't even want to overemphasize the price because the price is ridiculously cheap. We are currently selling our courses for 50,000 naira. And I don't think you actually find that price anywhere else. And if you see our syllables and you compare with the price, you know that this is actually a giveaway price. So I really want you to get started on it, early birds, and just get started on it. And I'm sure in about 10 weeks, which is an additional 2 weeks or not, depending on when you start the program, in 10 weeks, you'd be thankful to yourself for taking this step, for taking this amazing step. And you would have kickstarted your career path in the tech space. So thank you guys so much. Leave us a review on Trustpilot. The link is in the chat section. Leave us a review. Tell us how you enjoyed this session. Tell us what you learned. Connect with people on this space. Reach out to us. Should you have any questions, you can reach out to us. We'll drop our email below, so you can reach out to us if you have any questions, if you have any concern. And I really must appreciate our speakers again. Thank you, Lillian. Thank you, Kolade, Malik Kolade. I think you already left though. Thank you, Mary in absentia. Thank you, Dele. Thank you, Kayode, for speaking excellently well and for driving home some certain points. And just so that people can actually take the next step. Trust me, tech is not just the next big thing. It can actually be the next best thing for you. So take that decision right now. And we look forward to seeing you in the academy. Like I said, don't forget, you can give us a feedback. You can reach out to us via our email. And of course, we are looking forward to having you in the academy. That's what we can just say. And we promise it's going to be Israel time, not just by March. You're actually going to see us put our words into actions. You're going to see us put our words into action. Also, I think finally, the last thing I want to say is that we have other courses in the pipeline. We have courses like content management, community management, tech sales, partnership management, and there is a link to our wait list. So make sure you go through the wait list and you select the course that you're interested in. So when we launch out, you'll be the first person we reach out to. So without any further ado, that would be all. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you. We really appreciate you, taking out of your time to come listen to this amazing speaker talk to you about how they've journeyed into these courses and how they are doing really well there. So we hope to see you in the academy again. I keep emphasizing that because we actually do want to see you in the academy. Thank you guys and have a wonderful weekend ahead.